Hello, hello. What is up, everybody? This is Big Zess here. We are back with another Star Citizen video. We are going to be doing a little bit different activities today. Yesterday, we showed some of the events doing the bounty hunting and things of that nature, doing some of the event missions. Right now, I'm in a different ship. This is called the Zeus, as you can see on the tail there. It's Zeus CL. Let me do a little tour of it right now too, as well. So this one, it's in the similar vein as the Corsair. The Corsair, still kind of one of my favorite ships, but I just wanted to change things up today. The Zeus, this is the cockpit area, the bridge area. We have some components here. If we open this up here, okay, and in here we have weapon racks, so we can store weapons if we like. Okay, and this ship also has a tractor beam installed in the ship, which we can take a look at a little bit later. Here we have suit lockers, but this function is not really, this doesn't really work in the game yet. And so, all right, so this here is the airlock. This gives you access to the outside of the ship. You can just take a look out here. You can go EVA and all that. Go ahead and close that. Okay. Here is a ladder access to exit the ship. I'm not going to do that because then I'm just going to be stranded. We have more components here in an engineering terminal. Okay. And in here we have a little kitchen area where you can store some items if you like. These open panels here have a little bit seating area to look out, sink and all that. Here is the habitation area and some storage. You have 3 lockers here, beds, so for 3 different people, and a toilet with a shower. So this is a pretty nice ship. I would say this ship in particular, there's another variation of this ship called the ES, very similar. I don't know if we'll be able to see that today, but the CL ship, the reason why I like the CL is because you have a much bigger cargo area than the ES version, but the ES version has more fuel capacity and is more for exploration. So in the cargo area here, we have more weapon racks back there. It's being blocked by my storage box right now. I have some vehicles loaded up because the gameplay loop that we're going to be doing today is some mining. So I utilize this mech suit to mine, and then I utilize this ROC mining vehicle to pick up all the ores. And then as always, I just have, you know, a motorbike in here just in case. So that's just what that is. More components in here, and there's also more components over here. Okay, and then as I was stating before, back here on top of the ship there's actually a tractor beam, so we can demonstrate that here in a moment. So let's go back to the cockpit area. And to access a tractor beam, you actually have to be in the co-pilot seat. And it has to be this co-pilot seat, I believe. So the one on the right. So we're going to enter remote turret. And here we are. we are in the tractor beam. I think I have to turn it on, so let me exit. Hold on. Yeah, I have to redistribute power for it to actually work. Because I think it's disabled at the moment. So where's the power button? Flight ready. There we go.
Welcome to Robert Space Industries.
So let's take 2 pips out of guns and redistribute. Oh, it already has the tractor beam. Okay, so we got it. So now we can enter it. And there we go. Okay. So yeah, it's on the back of the ship. You can snag things just like with the other tractor beam and then place it in the cargo hold if this was open. I thought I left the door open. But okay, whatever. All right, so let's get back into the cockpit, the pilot seat. We can redistribute the power again because we don't need the tractor beam on anymore. Put that back in the guns. And we also want to make sure that all the doors are closed. Okay, so for mining, what you generally want to do, you do a scan, and this unknown cluster. So for the mining that I'm doing, it's classified as hand mining or rock mining. And the hand mining or rock mining is the style of mining that you can do without having a dedicated ship, like a mining ship. The dedicated mining ships, they have to mine ore deposits that are like really large, and you can't mine the ore deposits, the really large ones, with the tools or the equipment that I have at the moment. So, and also depending on the deposits, you would actually need the tools that I have or the vehicles that I have instead of just hand mining. So we can look at all the different styles of mining here today. So Baradom, it's probably going to be, this isn't necessarily the best, but we can demonstrate what we're going to be doing on these clusters, which is fine. So I like to just go ahead and put my landing gear down close to the cluster. All right, just like so. Shut the engine off.
Engines are off.
You always want to shut the engine off, because if you don't shut the engine off, especially on a moon like this, for some reason, sometimes the ship just wants to drift away. I've learned this the hard way. Always shut the engine off so that it's not, automatically giving power to the thrusters and somehow glitching away or something. Okay. So let's go ahead and exit here. And what I can also do, yeah, these are smaller deposits, so I might be able to do this with the, well, we'll see. So I'm going to try the hand mining attachment here. There we go. So as you can see on the tool itself, it says mining, right? Left click will be to actually mine. You can control the power of the mining tool by using the scroll wheel. I'm trying to put the power all the way up. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, these ones are too big. So We're going to put this away. So you're going to need either, this can mine as well, but it's kind of broken right now. This is generally what people would use, and it's like the best ground mining vehicle generally, but it's broken at the moment because when trying to mine with this currently, so you would aim at the rock or whatever deposit that you're trying to aim at. On the left side, you can see there's like a optimal range. Hold on. So you can see on the left side here, there is this range, a laser range. So you want to keep it within this optimal area. And then on the right side here, you have your laser intensity. So that's just how strong your beam is. So when I aim over the rock, you see I'm right at the optimal. Just like right there. However, when I try to shoot at it, it misses. It's not aligned. You can realign it, or you can do it like that, but it doesn't show you the charge level as it's showing now. The charge level is shown on the right side here when you hover over it. And so because this is broken, all I use this thing for is the extraction mode, which picks up the rocks once you're done mining, which we'll demonstrate that here in a minute. So let's get out of this and let's get into the geo. So the geo is also broken. It's also broken because it happens very often where as soon as you extract with the geo, as you can see at the very bottom of my display here, it's showing that my my thing is full of glycosite. Okay, it's saying that it's full. It's not. Okay, it just isn't. And because of that glitch, I'm not able to, a lot of the times, I'm not able to actually extract minerals. So we're going to open this up. We're going to open the box. And as you can see, there's nothing in there. Okay. So what I use the geo for, I use it to break the rocks, and then I use the rock, the wheeled vehicle that I was just in, to scoop everything up. But okay, anyway, general rule of thumb when it comes to mining, as I was talking about with the rock, you keep it in the optimal range, and then on the right side you have the intensity. And depending on the size of the rock, you have the high mode, fracture mode, which I'm in right now. You can press Alt 4, change it to low. And what I've learned is that if you keep your laser intensity to around 60%, which I have right now, you can use a scroll wheel to push it up or push it down. But if you keep it at around 60%, most rocks will heat up at a decent rate and not explode and kill you. If you charge a rock too much and you don't keep it in the optimal heat range and you push it into the overcharge, it will explode on you and it can kill you. So that's why you need to be very careful when you're mining. But if you keep it on 60% and on high for these bigger style rocks, and then for low on the smaller ones, which hopefully we get to run into today, you shouldn't run into any issues. So we're going to go ahead and heat this up. And the heat is rising slowly. We're in the optimal range. We're going to make sure it stays in an optimal range. We're actually going to let it cook all the way up to the top. And then we're going to let it go. And then we're going to hit it again once it's at the bottom of the optimal. And it should break. Yeah, there you go. Easy breakage. Go to the next one, same thing. Shouldn't take too long to cook. And it's quite manageable. It's quite easy to manage to keep it inside the optimal range when you're on this power level. Easy. So we're just going to break all these rocks. And then once they're all broken, we'll scoop them all up with the other vehicle. All the deposits. And this is a very chill, relaxing game loop that you can do in this game. The gems themselves, they do sell for, depending on what it is that you find, they can sell for quite a bit. Different gems are worth different things. And honestly, crafting is not necessarily in the game yet. So I believe that the gems that are not as valuable will have some type of crafting use later on. So at least that's my opinion. But at this point in time, I just really have been enjoying this game loop. It is very relaxing. You can explore different environments and have some great scenery. Okay, I'm back. Had to AFK for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and break this rock. So that one was overcharged a little bit too much. Exploded on me and took a chunk of damage. So you always got to be careful. Keep it inside of the optimal range. If it gets overcharged too much, it can kill you. It also damaged my my suit here, so some of my controls are starting to get wonky. We can repair it though, no big issue. Should be fine. Let's get to the next one. Sometimes it lags with showing and displaying the charge level. A good rule of thumb is just to get it glowing red hot. Because the visual of the rock itself, once it starts to get glowing red hot, you're usually in that range. So even though you may not get a charge level feedback, once it's glowing red hot, just kind of try to keep it glowing red hot. And you don't have to keep it glowing red hot for long. recharge a tiny bit. I'm going to heal up. Get back in here. And we will get our rock out. There we go. We can also repair this a little bit. I have to change the module back. There we go. All right. So the rock here, we're just going to put it in extraction mode and we're going to suck up all the rocks that we broke.
Mining mode on.
The good thing about the rock is that it has a much bigger storage capacity for the ores, so it doesn't get filled up as quickly as the geo does. So in general, it's just better. Even though both of these tools don't necessarily work the way that they should, or as they intend to work. The rock has its ups and downsides. I mean, it's a wheeled vehicle, right? The Geo suit does a lot better in terrain where sometimes these ores are on a hillside, and so it's just easier to have the Geo, depending on the terrain, because it's not always the best environment to have a wheeled vehicle like this rock mining, for the geo rock here. But here it's flat ground, or mostly flat, and it does a really good job of just scooping up a lot of stuff. Much more storage on the back. Okay, we're almost done here. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. I don't know why it glitches sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta aim above the rock instead of actually at it. And you can keep on pressing the tab button to scan to see if you left anything, which I have. And sometimes if they're really stubborn, you'll just have to pick them up by hand. But hopefully I don't have to do that. Okay. Well, we'll just try to pick these up then. Okay, the difficult, challenging part about picking them up by hand is you don't get the radar, so you'll just have to kind of memorize where things are. So we had some here, Yeah, there's 3 clusters here. And then there was something here. Can't even see it. One over here. And then some over here. I think there was one over here. Oh, let me make sure. Let me just hit the radar again. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep, that was it. So we load everything back up. I usually back in because it's just easier to access the storage on the back. So we back in, not too far though, and hop out. Close the door. So on the back of the ROC here, I already have the storage open. And we can access. I like to get them in chunks of 100, so that way they fit in my backpack. If you go a little bit over 100, it's okay. But I have a certain capacity on my backpack that I can't go over. And we put it in the storage box. Simple. As you can see, I was mining a little bit earlier today, so I have a certain amount of other minerals here. But once this is completely full, I'll just go ahead and fill this all the way up, and then we'll make our way to any type of site where we can go to sell. Sometimes your components get affected when a rock explodes. And so you just got to be mindful to make sure you repair everything. Even though the damage is minimal, it's just nice to make sure everything's topped off. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our way to the next cluster. And hopefully it's going to be a very valuable cluster. I'm really looking for Handonite, because that's going to be the most valuable cluster that you can find. But I'll settle for some other clusters. Maybe even Aphrodite, so that way we can use our hand mining tool. So, let's see.
Landing gear raised.
Let's go this way. Okay, so that looks promising. Whenever it's a lot of unknown and in a very tight grouping, that's going to be hand mining nodes. So that's Baradom. That's what we were just picking up. Something else. Okay, that's another tight cluster group. And yep, that's Aphrodite. So we will pick this one up. And hopefully we can use the hand mining tool for this.
Landing gear deployed.
Or Aphrodite. Excuse me, not Aphrodite. Aphrodite.
Engines are off.
Let's open up exterior. I don't think I hit the right button. Hit the exit button. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to get our hand mining tool on. So we can show some hand mining that we can do. This is the Dutch tractor. That's lifeguard. There's the mining. There we go. this way. Okay, yeah, I can still get up here. I should move the ship, but it's not that big of an issue. As long as I can get back in there. All right, so these are much smaller nodes, as you can see. And with these smaller nodes, only nodes that are about this size are capable of being mined with the hand mining. So we're going to have to change the power level of the laser. And on the mining laser, you can it's not as prominent. But it's the same concept. It's on the left side there. You can kind of see how hot it's getting. We want to keep it in that green zone. Fracture successful. Cool. I might adjust the power level just a little bit so it doesn't cook so quick. And there we go. And just like with the Geo, you can, at least with this, you can right click and it'll do extractions. I don't know where that one went. A little bit more cumbersome though. You got to kind of aim above the rock and then it'll go into your inventory. Anyway, we're going to use the Geo because the Geo is going to be a lot quicker with getting all this done. As long as I can jump back in here. Okay. Got to go around this way. If it'll let me. All right, let's just move this over a little bit. Okay, I didn't mean to squish. All right. All right. And so because these nodes are a lot smaller, we're going to make sure we switch our laser intensity from high to low by pressing F4. And we can keep it at the 60%. Get within the optimal range. And we should cook this pretty quickly. There we go. 60% power level is just the sweet spot that I have learned. Regardless of the size of the rock will determine whether you're going to use high or low power, but 60% strength has been the happy medium. We're going to break all these up, and then we're going to get in the rock, scoop it all up, and then we can sell this all. See how much we get. Actually, before we head out to sell all this stuff, there's a cave that I see in the distance over there. Caves also have ore deposits, and that's mainly going to be just hand mining that you're going to be doing in the caves. But we can go in there and we can explore. I've tried to fit a geo in there once, and you get varying results, so it's best to just go in there on foot. There's actually 2 caves. Okay.
Extraction mode on. Mining mode on.
I hope I don't flip over here.
Target friendly.
Yep, I flipped over. I usually just have to get out and it'll fix itself.
Mining mode on.
Nope. There we go. All right, there we go.
Extraction mode on. Mining mode on.
Okay, there we go. So, with getting this back into the ship, we're just going to use the tractor beam.
Mining mode on.
Just lift that back up in there. If it would go in there properly. We don't want it to spin. I just want it to... Hold on. Let's just go in straight, please. The rotate function doesn't really work as intended. Okay, let's try this again. It would be just easier to... It would definitely just be easier to just push the ship, or to get into the ship and just move it forward. So that way... I think it's stuck underneath the ship now. No? Okay. So let's move this. We're just going to move the ship. We're just going to move the ship. So we should be able to just access the bridge by this ladder. Okay, I just glitched through. That's fine. Alright, and then let's just move forward a little bit, and then we can just drive in. Making things super complicated when they don't need to be.
Engines are on. Takeoff complete. Landing complete. Engines are off.
Alright. So I should be able to just drive right in now.
Extraction mode on.
Okay.
On.
Let's get this out. Place it in here. And that's good. So now I want to explore the cave. And I think I'm just going to take the bike over there. I think that's what I want to do.
Engines online. Launch complete.
But before we go,
Engines
I'm going to make sure I
launch complete.
turn my ship off. When your ship is on, it emits signatures. And I don't want anyone finding out where I am, or at least where my ship is, without me being there. So for the sake of stealth, we're just gonna, let me just zoom in here. So yeah, you have infrared emissions, you have electromagnetic emissions, and then you have cross-section emissions. If you turn the
System
plane off,
Shields are
it cuts down all that,
System
and it's more
Shields
difficult to
are
detect
weapons system.
and pick up off a radar. So that's what we're gonna do. My ship is always visible, at least for me. It's always going to be marked, as you can see, with the PIZ, whatever that is. So no matter how far away I am, I'm able to find out where my ship is. Okay. So there was supposed to be a cave
Online. Launch.
over this way somewhere. I believe. Yes. Cave over here.
Engines destroyed.
Wait, what? What happened? What happened to my... Did I get shot or something? This game, I'm telling you, man, this game, the most randomest things just be happening, man. You know what? This seems a lot more sketch. This seems very sketch. My bike is almost broken. I'm just gonna play it safe. Go back. We'll just ditch the bike because it's broken. But let me just go back to my ship. Abort. We'll still go to the cave. I'm just gonna make sure I take my ship. Because I don't want to have to hike 8 kilometers all the way back to my ship. What happened? What happened to my dragonfly that made it break like this? I don't really think I smacked onto anything because when I fly, I press and hold the hover button, which is the space bar, that ensures that the maximum height that you stay above the ground is, at its maximum while pressing the W key. So I always want to make sure I'm as high as possible whenever I'm flying. So I didn't hit the ground. Control brings it down like that. But spacebar, it raises you up. Control brings it down. Okay. Well, this bike is toast. If you don't shut the bike off before getting off, it'll do that. It'll just raise up into the air. It's not what you want, so always make sure you shut the bike off, but we're just going to leave it because it's broken. Go ahead and close. turn our ship back on. And we'll head to the cave. We'll explore just for a little bit, and then we'll go to the mining outpost.
Shields are off. Welcome to Robert Space Industries. Enjoy the ride. Weapons system check. Weapons system is on. Takeoff complete. Shields are off. Landing gear raised.
I've got to say that rock has a really good radar if it was able to pick up the cave from this far away.
Shields are on.
Okay.
Weapons system is off. Shields are off. Shields are off. Weapons system is
Not gonna work. Okay, I'll take the ladder then. All right, so what's over here? If anything, nothing. So in the cave here, we have fungus that you can get, and also some. There's some fungus that you can pick. I'm not sure which ones. Yeah, so like this one. And probably this one. And then there's aphrite and other hand mining things that you can get as well. See what's down here. Dead end this way. Lots of fungus, it seems. Well, Wait, maybe I can prone through here? No? Okay. I just gotta jump over then. All right, I think let's not get lost. Let's not get lost. I think you guys get the point. These caves, they have certain items that you can collect, along with some mining that you can do. Hand mining, that is. Oh, there's another hand mining rock. If I can get the right tool. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to base. And sell all these gems that I've been collecting. So we have some, I don't know what that is, some type of fungus, and we got some more aphrite. And then we have some of this green stuff. I might have collected some of the green stuff already. We can see if it's in my box back here. So we have Dolovine is what it is. And then aphrite. Wait, let's split this. Okay. Make sure this is closed, and then we can head on out.
System is on. Welcome to Robert Space Industries. Enjoy the system. System is on. Takeoff complete. Shields are off. Landing gear raised. Weapons system is off.
Which is kind of like my home base. There we go.
Quantum drive is now
Now it's always a mystery where is Bajini? Okay, there it is.
quantum drive is now quantum drive is now off. Shields are on. Weapons system is on.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Okay. So we made it. Goes away. What we want to do is we want to get the storage box that we've been using, place it on the elevator there, go into the elevator, send it down, and we want to take out all of the gems that we have in that box and place them into our general inventory. Show you how that is done. You have to find it first. Is it this one? Yeah. So it's this one. Pull this over, open it up, and then just one by one slide them over. Okay. Put the box back in there. And now what we could do is we could go to the commodity trading post. I'm going to go ahead and put the CL back in my inventory here.
Welcome to the ROC Vehicle Retrieval System.
And then we'll end this video with touring the ES version of the Zeus.
Vehicle has been moved.
Okay, it's stuck. It should still disappear. Hopefully. Is it going to get destroyed? Okay, yeah, it still disappeared. All right. I wear heavy armor on my character. So another pro tip, if you want to run a little bit faster, especially when you're in these areas where, it's just a spaceport. Take your arms and your legs off, and you get a little bit of a sprint speed boost. Or movement speed boost. You're just not as heavy. So, run a little bit faster. So we're going to make it to the commodity trading post, which is going to be in the Galleria. Most space stations have a Galleria. Right there. And you have to make sure that the ores are in your general inventory and not inside some box or something like that. They have to be in the general inventory, which is why it is that we emptied it out. So we come to one of these terminals. It's called a commodity shop. And here we select our inventory location, which is going to be by Genie. You have to scroll all the way down. By Genie Point. And so here we go. We have, I've been doing a lot of mining, okay? So the amount of units that I have here is a lot more than what we actually mined today. But so if we want to sell over 500 units of glycosite, we're going to get 52K. Okay. Glycosite is not as valuable as something like hadanite or janelite, right? A lot of these are not really that valuable. Aphrite, 350 units, you get 70K. Okay, so that's sold. Baradom is probably one of the least valuable ones. And then lastly, we have Dolivine. Okay, so we made a decent amount of money. I mean, around like 200 something thousand. Yeah, I started with about 730. Now I'm at 930. So decent run. That's mining. Very relaxed little game loop. Obviously, if you specifically single out mining the most valuable resources, which I think is going to be the best time investment, you're going to make a lot more money, per hour. I was just kind of mining whatever I found. And when it comes to hand mining in particular, there's particular planets that you would have to visit in order to get the more, I want to say, valuable resources. And these planets are located in places such as Pyro Galaxy, where there's also, I'm not going to say PvP enabled, but there's just no law system there. And because there's no law system there, people tend to engage in PvP because there's no repercussions. So you just got to be more mindful. Maybe taking a particular ship that has stealth components equipped, making sure that your signatures are low so that people don't know where you are, things like that. High risk, high reward type situation.